The next report in our series is titled UFO Documents and the FBI Vault. Recently, the Federal Bureau of Investigations, or FBI, posted a story on their website claiming that a UFO memo from 1950 was their most viewed document on the entire FBI Vault website. Major news organizations such as CNN and NBC News reported on this document, which was actually released under the Freedom of Information Act and available since the late 70s. The document generating this attention is a simple one-page memo called the Guy Hottel memo. Its contents were written on March 22, 1950 by Guy Hottel, a special agent in charge of the Washington field office. The subject line reads simply, "Flying saucers," while the first paragraph is mostly blacked out. The second paragraph goes deeper into what has commonly been interpreted as related to the Roswell UFO crash of 1947. It states, quote, "An investigator for the Air Force stated that 3 so-called flying saucers had been recovered in New Mexico. They were described as being circular in shape with raised centers approximately 50 feet in diameter," end quotes. It goes on to describe the condition of the 3 bodies found in the crash. The next paragraph hypothesizes the cause, stating, quote, "Due to the fact that the government has a very high-powered radar set up in that area, and it is believed the radar interfered with the controlling mechanism of the saucers," end quote. The memo ends abruptly with the sentence stating that no further evaluations were attempted. UFO researcher Bruce Maccabee was the first to obtain this document via an FOIA request, and researchers have been debating its contents ever since. Maccabee and other UFO researchers believe this memo to be part of an elaborate hoax. The description of the incident correlates closely, not with the Roswell incident, but with the claims of an oilman named Silas Newton. Newton claimed to have received this information by a scientist he calls Dr. Guy. Newton was able to convince journalist Frank Scully his story was real, which resulted in the publication of Scully's book, Behind the Flying Saucers, containing Newton's material. Later, it was discovered that Newton was a shady businessman, and Dr. Guy was really a friend named Leo Gebauer, who was neither a scientist nor did he have government connections. It's believed that Special Agent Hottel heard of Newton's stories, which prompted the memo. Other researchers, however, maintained there was something to the Scully story about a UFO crash in Aztec, New Mexico in 1948, and a book was published recently examining this case in detail. The Vault was created in 2011 as a storehouse for commonly requested FBI documents already released under the FOIA, making it easier for people to consult and request documents. Go to Vault.FBI.gov. From there, you can easily search a multitude of topics ranging from counterterrorism to unexplained phenomena. A quick search using the keyword UFO yielded hundreds of pages of documents on Roswell, Project Blue Book, NICAP, and a plethora of memos, handwritten notes, sighting reports, and newspaper clippings. Most of these documents belong to the early flying saucer era in the late 40s, when the FBI was officially involved in assisting the first Air Force UFO projects. Legendary FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover, who didn't want to be under anybody's authority, eventually pulled the Bureau out of its official involvement in the Air Force UFO projects. Nevertheless, the FBI continued to monitor certain UFO activities, particularly those involving sightings at atomic installations and other classified facilities, like the Los Alamos and Oak Ridge National Laboratories. In the Cold War climate that dominated that period, Hoover was concerned that a foreign power could manipulate UFO sightings for its own purposes. Some citizens also submitted UFO information to the Bureau, like a file containing a memo written to the director of the FBI about a then recent sighting, with an enclosed newspaper article in which a schoolboy describes his sighting and photograph. Another item that seemed to preoccupy Director Hoover was the anti-nuclear weapons philosophy embraced by the early UFO contactees like George Adamski. Not that Hoover believed in their claims of meeting real ETs. In fact, he didn't, as can be seen in some documents, but he considered these beliefs subversive. You will even find occasionally FBI memos and documents containing the dreaded X mark, the so-called X-Files made famous by the TV series. However, the X in these documents denotes counterintelligence and espionage, and not any kind of paranormal phenomena. The rest of the files in the FBI Vault collection encompass a wide range of various letters, memos, and newspaper clippings. All these files are stored permanently on the FBI's Vault website and can be accessed and downloaded free of charge. Not all the FBI UFO-related files are on the Vault. A dossier on contactee George Adamski, for instance, is not posted online. You can find additional analysis on the history of the FBI's real X-Files in an article I posted on the Open Minds website. For your need to know, I'm Antonio Huneeus.